Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jordan Sanchez. I just wanted to send a big shout out to all of the Evertonians, all of the Toffees, all around the world here in North America. I am the head of the City Evertonians, which is Miami's first and only Everton supporters club. And I just wanted to let you know, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about my story. If you haven't heard, when we had the Everton in the USA event with the club, I was interviewed by Roger from the Men in Blazers. Roger was an amazing interviewer and interviewee, because it was an interview with Snods and a couple other Everton supporters from around the world. Big shout out to Bridget, by the way, who is making blues everywhere, especially here in North America. Very, very proud. I hope I could keep up with that quality of pride. But you know, I don't know if I can match Bridget's excitement and true passion for the Toffees, but I'll try anyway, right? So I got into Everton around the time of that summer of soccer, right? It was, I believe it was 2014. Yeah, 2014. And I was doing math in my head there. Around 2014, I got really obsessed with soccer. I had never really, or football. I never really followed football before, although my dad played semi-professional football in Cuba, which is not saying that much, but you know, it is still something. Someone who was obsessed with soccer, like my dad, could not instill this obsession of soccer in me until I saw Tim Howard break the World Cup save record against Belgium, and his teammates, Kevin Morales and Romelu Lukaku. What an amazing summer that was. So I remember going on social media that summer and asking friends for suggestions on clubs in the Premier League that I should follow. I knew I wanted to do the Premier League because lots of the matches were on TV here in the States. And I really wanted to follow a good team, but that had American ties, right? I wanted some meaning, some emotion behind it. I wanted to be emotionally invested in this club. And so my friends, you know, they all gave me their best pitch. And one of my friends said, you know, there's this one team in Liverpool, very historical, has a pretty good history with Americans, as they have an American ownership group, and they're pretty, you know, they have pretty passionate fans. So I decided to do some research on these guys, and one of the things that really caught my eye was that the owner of this club was the former owner of the Marlins here in Miami, the baseball team. He now owns the Red Sox, John Henry, Fenway Sports Group. So that was kind of a turnoff. I didn't really like him as owner of the Marlins, as a Marlins fan myself. You know, I felt like I could look past that a little bit. So I did my research on YouTube, and I came across this other team in Liverpool and Merseyside that seemed to have a bit more history than the one owned by John Henry and Fenway Sports Group. And it's like Alan Ball said, once Everton touches you, you'll never be the same again. Something just clicked, but I didn't really commit, right? I wasn't really committed. I decided to follow some matches for Everton, but I wasn't completely, I wasn't 100% in, right? One time, I'm a DJ, my profession is a DJ. So I went out to Amsterdam to play some shows, and for a big DJ conference that goes on there every October. And it was me and my wife, and we decided, hey, why don't we get a cheap flight from Amsterdam to Liverpool, and we'll go see an Everton match. And you know, it was a silly idea. It was something that was thought up of in a very last minute, and it was still a great idea, and we decided to do that. And we ended up getting tickets for Everton versus Manchester United. And after a really long night of partying and basically a typical night out in Amsterdam, a typical weekend out in Amsterdam, we decided to catch a red-eye flight from Amsterdam to Liverpool. And I was so excited. I had all my Everton gear ready to go. And that morning, when we actually, around the time we landed, I wanted to say, maybe a little bit later than that, maybe by the time we checked into the hotel, we got news that that Everton legend Howard Kendall passed away that day. And I will never, ever, ever forget that day, that match, every moment of that day, because by the time we hit the Goodison Park area, there was this feeling in the air. It was very somber. It was still some excitement. It still felt like it was going to be, a sporting event. The excitement of an upcoming game, people drinking and having fun, kids in the street. That was still there. At least a little bit was still there. But there was an overall aura of sadness, of almost like a funeral for like an old uncle or grandparent or something like that. And it was the only time I have ever felt a sense of family for supporting a team or a club. And I've been to NBA Finals games. I've been to World Series games. I've been to NFL playoff games. And none of those compared to a random match day in Merseyside against Manchester United, the day that an Everton legend passes away. It was just an incredible feeling, and it felt very much, I mentioned this already, it felt very much like family, and I had never felt that way about anything relating to sports ever. So that day, again, like Alan Ball said, once Everton touches you, you'll never be the same again. And since that day, I've been a diehard Everton fan, and I decided I will start an Everton supporters club here in Miami and continue to support the greatest club in the world. And I guess that's a really, really roundabout way of saying that I was born an Evertonian. I just didn't realize it until much, much later in life, right? So that is my Everton story, my story of how I got to fall in love with the best soccer club, the best football club in the entire world. And ever since I started supporting Everton, I was welcomed with open arms. Yeah, you get some of those supporters that aren't particularly fond of international supporters, international attention. They really like the local identity, the Merseyside identity of Everton. And that was one of the things that when I started the club, I wanted to respect, right? I didn't want to be a part of the club and have a stake, say, in the club, and then having to step on the toes of Everton supporters in Merseyside. I think the local identity of Everton, the Merseyside identity of Everton, is of utmost importance. I also think international support is very important for Everton too, to grow, but we didn't want to be the club that kind of overshadowed the voice of Everton supporters in Merseyside. So, we have a big respect for those in Liverpool, the Blues in Liverpool. So big shout out to you. Without you guys, you're the leaders of this, right? So without the ones in Liverpool, without the ones in Merseyside, we'd be a ship without a route. And for that we are thankful. And I'm just so excited that Everton has been growing. The international support has been growing. The Latin American support has been growing, especially here in Miami. I am Cuban American. Our supporters are Colombian, Brazilian, Salvadoran, Costa Rican, Spanish, Puerto Rican, Costa Rican. I think I said Costa Rican already, but you get the point. We are one of the most diverse Everton supporters groups in the entire world, not let alone the United States. And I couldn't be any prouder of that. And we're growing really, really fast despite being super young and having to deal with the pandemic. But we're here to stay. We're here to continue to support the best club in the world. We're going to Orlando as a big group to say hi to all the Blues and to meet you and to finally have some quality time with our fellow Toffees. And and I just can't wait. Look, the excitement in my voice is overcoming me. I don't even know how to move on from that story of me being an Evertonian. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that's shown their support, their excitement. We've grown so much on social media because of how welcoming Evertonians have been all around the world. If you want to follow us, just hit us up at Vice City EFC on Twitter. That is the #1 way to get in touch with us. We are most active on Twitter. In fact, our following on Twitter grew surpassed 1,000 followers within 2 weeks of joining Twitter and starting the supporters club. So I just wanted to say thank you to all the Evertonians and to Everton, to the club, who gave us all the resources and the tools to start the club and to make us feel welcome. And for this amazing jersey of my favorite player, Richarlison! Signed, by the way. It's signed by Richarlison in the back, which is why I still have the tag. I don't want to take it off. I want to keep this thing crisp prime. It has I'll show you. Here we go. Here we go. Ooh, let me go the other way. Let me go the other way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Richarlison signed jersey, baby. All right, you can barely tell, but there it is. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you in Orlando, and up the Toffees. Let's go.